Yeah, so in this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to do various methods and tricks with different tools, which I use. Now you may do it different later on, but I just want to show you variations, and that's why the camera's at a bit of an angle, so you can actually see me doing this. And so we're going to try a couple of variations. I'll start out with a little knife, and we'll make one little line, and we'll take it from there. Well, I was putting a line up in here actually. .45, and there we go. Now, what happened was, that was with the palette knife at a 45 running it along, and that's a soft white, zinc white. Now what happened was it got too large. So let's go in closer here. Now it's too large, and I take my rubber tool. You can do it two ways. You can take the knife and you can kind of force it back up. There, like that. And then run it along a bit more. Ooh, that's pretty. Right, now the other one's a little wide. And the other way you can do it is you take this little rubber tool and you press it up. There we go. Then you get a lovely finish as well. I got two little spots here I don't really like. See how you can push it up? You have to wipe your tool off in between now and then. There you go. So that's the way I do that. All right. Yeah, so there's a bunch of variations in palette knives. I'll just show you. I got a whole variation here. Right, I don't use that one too much unless it's a large painting, but they just go on. And if I see one like in a sale, like the plastic one, I buy it just to see what it does. And I have a big long knife one that I've hardly ever used, and variations like that. And some of them are a little bit more pricey than normal, but you can go down to somewhere like, I was in Ireland, and they call it Lidl's, or I call it Lidl. Whatever you want to call it, had these, and they were only like €6–7, and what a deal. So yeah, you can get your brushes and tools a little cheaper, so it doesn't always have to be huge money. Now, another way of doing these lines is to take a very small thin-haired brush and just touch it on like that. And you can thin it down and run it across like this. Oops. That last bit doesn't want to go. There we go. And you know, if it's a little out, then you can take your rubber or whatever you got there. See, and straighten it out. Now, if you don't have a rubber, there is this little pick thing you can use. It's got a, I'll just take this out, it's got a very sharp scratch thing on the one side and a little globe on the other. And you can run that. It's a little different. But you know, whatever you have to get it done with. You use the palette knife, the top of it if you have to, and so on and so on. Now, that's the knife process and the brush, using a brush and using the rubber tool. And there are, you know, some people use a ruler and try to run it, but I can't do that. So there we go. Okay, let's go to the flowers in here. So I use the little brush first, and just show it. We'll go up in here because I want this one to stand out like crazy. Isn't that lovely? And you can put your finger somewhere on the painting where it's not going to do too much. There we go. See, you can put your flowers in. I'll do a little extra one here just to... Isn't that lovely? So I'm using a paintbrush right now. There we go. I put them in yesterday, but they've dulled a bit. So here's this tool again, and on this side, it has a little kind of a round piece. So you can actually dab that into paint and put a dab on there like that, and you get these little specks. You have to keep dabbing though. See, it doesn't do it a second time that time. Now, I'll do kind of a ready mixed one up here. To give it a little contrast in the colors. I've just put a little red on it. That red didn't take. Try it again. There we go. I don't know whether I wanted to do that there, but anyways. So you can keep adding your flowers that way. And there you go. You have your flowers. That's another tool. Now some painters take the knife and basically just come in with the knife and just tip it like that. There you go. See? Oh, so many different ways. You can actually take an old paintbrush, so you don't want to go buy anything. Here's one of my old paintbrushes, it's got no hairs left, and I actually keep it because sometimes I do use it for this. See? There we go, little very small spots. Right? And you know, if you want them in there, isn't that lovely? We'll do a little bit, we'll do one more up here just to... Okay. So that's making the flowers on a bush. Yeah, so I want to show these lines here, how I do them. Now I usually put a little bit of this, this is a little drop bottle I have. It's like one of those nose bottles or something, or eye bottles. And see, I can just drop oil and thinners in the paint, just a drop like that without wasting too much. When you mix it 50-50, the smell goes away a lot. You don't really have a smell. Now I'm doing this on the glass because I can see better the consistency of the paint. And you can actually test it out on the glass if you want, or on a piece of paper. You just rub it on the paper and have a quick look. Now, what this does is it creates that scratch effect you need on this painting. Now this is an old $2 brush. This is nothing fancy here. As you can see, I'm creating that scratch effect I have. And you can also create grass up by pushing up like this. I could do some in there actually. And you can see I got some black in here as well already. I have to do some in there in the end where the grip is. So I'll just do a bit of black so it's easier to see it. There you go. Can you see that? Getting closer. Let's do it right here in front of the camera. There you go. It gives you a sense of the ground being darker in places. And now we'll switch. I'm going to take this lovely Winton oil yellow. I have this very light little flake in maybe in here, just to show you, because I got some in here already. See how lovely that is? You can play with it a little. There you go. I have it up in here a bit too. There's quite a bit of yellow up in there. I can do a bit more up in here. Up in here. And see, you just light, scrape, tap. You can change your angle of your brush a little there. Gives the painting a feel of looseness. So, okay. Yeah, so here are the various brushes you can use. They've got a coarse hair. They're usually cheap brushes. And here's the fan brush you can use to create some twist little squiggles or little trees around, which are real rough. And then this wider one here, bristle for larger painting. So that's how I do them. I don't use too big a brush ever. Just the way I am. So, and I have a old fan brush here I use for trees and that, which I will show you now in a minute. I'm going to talk about paints later on, but here we have an Opus yellow orca, and here we have a Winton 44 yellow orca. Now you think the colors would be the same, but when you screw off the caps, sorry, the taps. Let's do that. And you look in the tubes, can you see, there we go. Look at how much difference this one, how light this is compared with this one. I much prefer the light one. I don't call this yellow orca, I call this sand. Because it does look much more like sand than it does like a yellow color. So I'm going to go and do paints some other time later on the different colored paints and the different variations and what I like. But you know, you will choose your own paints in the end. So yeah, I've mixed it, but I haven't mixed it fully. You can see the white and the sand still showing there. And we're going to take it up to our roof here. Right? And we're going to, I did the white line a bit early. You do that at the end usually. And we're going to run that down that roof. And then paint that roof in. And it's going to have a black line down in here afterwards. It's a little heavy, but we can actually run this all the way down the building and then do the roof. The bottom is a little bit more shady anyway, so lovely. Doesn't that look nice? Sometimes it's just the right stroke that makes it work. Now, I got a little bit here we'll take off. It's bothering me a bit. We'll clean it up later. Just for visuals. Now, the roof didn't turn out the color I wanted. That's where the roof is going to end. Now it's beginning to look like the roof I wanted to. There's like a little tab of orange in there. I don't know what it is. That's a little too yellow still. Maybe we'll have to brush this, huh? Ooh, that's quite nice. I quite like that. Now if I could get a little bit of the brown in there. Yeah, and a little bit more orange, I thinky. What is that, a new language or something? That's pretty good. I don't want it to stand out. And now I'll have to the famous white line along the top here. Now we're getting it. Can come down a little. And I'll mottle this a bit. You know, you can do it this way. Take paint away, right? Which I didn't show you today yet. Oops. And you can add too. Let's put a little bit of very dark purple with a black in it, in here. That'll be my roof shadow. That's pretty good. See how that's shaping? Detail is everything in this painting. So I'm mixing the yellow ochre and the raw sienna a little, but more yellow ochre and just a little real sienna to get a little bit of a rusty kind of look. And I'm just putting it on the side of the building here with the light brush, just touching it here like this. See what effects I get. And at the bottom it kind of goes dark, should go darker really. Maybe even a shadow in here. Of the other building or something. I see a shadow in the drawing up there. That's quite nice. Needs a little more white. It's got to be quite vague, really. It's quite good. It's not straight yet, but that's okay. And below it is the roof again, right here. This is the roof again, which is kind of lining down towards this tree here like this. And then it goes in. Like that there, right? Give an idea, and then it goes down a bit like this. My black's a little stiff. It's an old tube of black, so it needs a little bit of 50-50 in there. Yeah, they've kind of, the artists have kind of put some black lines down here to define the roof a bit. Doesn't want to take there, look at that. Oops, my black is being very stubborn today, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not too sure what that is there, that accident. See it? We'll get rid of that in a minute. It doesn't want to come off either. When you have something you can't get rid of it, you just put a little bit of white on it. And then you move on, because it can distract the eye quite a bit, you know, something like that. Or you take the old famous thinners and you start wiping it off. It's dribbling a bit. There we go. That'll be okay for the time being. I'll get back to that. Now I'm getting the lines I wanted. There's thinners on there. There we go. We're getting there. Detail, detail, detail.